Here's what's in the news now. Tonight, a 13 News exclusive. An Indiana woman who survived a mass shooting on a Kentucky interstate is sharing her story. This comes one day after authorities in Kentucky say they believe they discovered the body of the suspected gunman after a days-long search. Investigators say tonight that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Tonight, it's a conversation you'll see only here on 13. Janet Booth, struck by gunfire 12 days ago, revealing how faith and her love of music is helping her recover.
Not quite prepared for this part of it, but that's okay. I love to play.
For Janet Booth, the oboe is a constant companion. She plays it as a volunteer musician with the Indianapolis Municipal Band. The group got the invitation of a lifetime to perform in France over the summer.
We were asked to play a concert on Omaha Beach for the celebration of the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Another highlight, spending time with her daughter, hiking in North Carolina. But the next day, on her drive back here to Indiana in this blue car, she heard gunshots along I-75 in Kentucky.
And the third or fourth gunshot that I heard, I felt. And I felt the pain in my left leg. And my first thought was, I've been hit.
Authorities believe Joseph Couch opened fire on cars from the Daniel Boone National Forest. Janet Booth was one of the 5 people seriously injured. She told me a man who was also wounded that day called 911 as he ran over to Janet's car.
And then he asked if it was okay if he opened my door. He wanted to look at my wound, and I hear him say to the 911 operator, "Oh, she's gushing blood."
She said the Good Samaritan helped stop her bleeding until first responders got to the scene, telling me that she's been relying on her Christian faith.
We serve a mighty God, and he does not leave us or forsake us, and I didn't get frightened at all. I was at peace throughout the whole thing.
Janet Booth now uses a walker to get around. Doctors told her surgery was just too risky for her fractured hip, so the bullet fragments will stay in her leg.
I have a bullet hole in my upper thigh that the nurse said that she could put her thumb in it. It's quite large.
She spent the last few days counting the miracles that she has seen in the shooting.
No arteries in my leg were severed by the bullet. No one was killed. How amazing is that? September 7th could have ended with a lot of body bags. That man had 2,000 rounds of ammunition and a high-powered rifle.
As Janet Booth comes back to her favorite music and looks back on this year, the concert at Normandy, and surviving a mass shooting, she summarizes this year this way.
In both instances, overwhelming gratitude has been my primary emotion. Gratitude to the veterans that stormed the beach and fought for our freedom. And this time, gratitude to a God who loves us and a God who still wants to show us that he's in the business of miracles.
Today, the governor of Kentucky said they have every reason to believe the body discovered is in fact Joseph Couch. But the chief medical examiner in Kentucky says it may take up to 2 more days to make a final identification.
Well, controversy tonight on the campus of Purdue about which students and staff can cast their ballot in the upcoming election.
Our Jenny Runovich is looking into why vote centers are not planned at the university and the push to bring them back.
Polling places at Purdue have been part of Election Day for years, but now a major change. None on campus.
At least for now. The university late today saying it's proposed 2 locations for vote centers on campus, the Armory or the Recreational Sports Center. Tippecanoe County's election board now has to approve them. This follows a week of controversy with the board and the university. The election board had said no polling places at all at Purdue this year. A board staffer telling 13 News campus locations, quote, didn't meet statutory requirements. In previous elections, voters cast ballots at the Memorial Union and at Mackey Arena, and in 2020, lines went out the door at Mackey. Some say if polling places don't get approved on campus for this election, it'll be harder for thousands of students and staffers to make their voices heard.
And I find that very disappointing. We should be moving the other direction and making it easier and easier and easier for people to vote. It's a basic right, in my opinion. If you're eligible, you should be able to vote, and it should be an easy thing to do.
Again, Purdue now saying it's working with the election board to find a fix and bring back voting centers on campus. In West Lafayette, Jenny Runovich, 13 News.
And just yesterday, the state Democratic Party called out both Purdue and the county election board. It said taking away an on-campus polling site suppresses the ability for students to cast a ballot and is, quote, just plain wrong.
Well, the first batch of absentee ballots will be mailed out in Marion County this week.
And if you asked for one, you are not alone. A spokesperson for the Marion County Clerk's office says more than 10,000 voters have requested to vote absentee by mail. The Marion County Election Board is preparing to send those out now. You should start seeing them in your mailboxes early next week.
And if you have not registered to vote yet, you have until October 7th to make that happen. Howard County is adding 20 new touchscreen voting machines for the upcoming election.
Our news gathering partners at the Kokomo Tribune report the machines will be set up at the county's busiest voting centers.
The machines will cost $97,000, but a federal grant and the clerk's office is covering a majority of the cost.
And 13 News wants to know what you care about this election. What are the most important issues?
Yeah, well, you got to tell somebody. You could tell us. Which issues will decide your vote in November through our voter survey. You can scan the code that you see right here on your screen, or just head on over to WTHR.com/vote.
A proposal that would increase funding for Indy DPW is going before the full city county council, but it may not get very far after a committee vote tonight. Our Logan Gay was at that meeting and joins us tonight at 11 in the newsroom. Logan, what happened?
Well, Scott, everyone agrees that the roads need to be fixed here in Marion County, but what the committee members did not agree on was where the money should come from.
Something needs to be done. I think Indianapolis can do better, deserves to do better.
Neighbors voicing their frustrations about Marion County roads to the City County Council's Public Works Committee, urging them to do something about it.
It's in absolute shambles. It's to the point where the city's not safe. It's not safe to drive. It's not safe to walk down the sidewalk.
I know people who have had varying degrees of accidents due to hitting potholes. So much personal property damage occurs to people's cars all the time. Most people don't have the extra money to fix this damage.
A proposal from Republican Councilor Josh Bain would allocate $225 million to the Department of Public Works for road and bridge repairs by reducing the budget from other non-exempt city departments that don't relate to public safety. Bain acknowledges it's a tough decision, but believes now is the time to act.
We're running out of road to kick the can down, and we have to make some uncomfortable decisions about what are our budget priorities.
The committee voted 7-3 to send the proposal to the full council with a no-pass recommendation. While some council members said they appreciated Bain's efforts, some of them did not agree on where the money would come from.
So in fact, we're looking to cut city departments by about 50% between now and 2029. I don't think that's what the residents of Indianapolis and Marion County desire.
Your proposal would gut city services.
Dan Boots voted no on the proposal. He agrees that the roads do need work, but was not a fan of the timeline.
Just saying we're going to cut $225 million out of a budget that has to be approved and passed within 2 to 3 weeks is a Herculean task that we're not up to.
Some neighbors say they don't care where the money comes from, as long as the roads get better.
We have to do something. We're going to start losing people from our state.
This is why both sides promise to continue to explore alternative ways to find more revenue.
The proposal goes before the full council on Monday, September 23rd for a final vote.
We'll be there to cover it. Logan Gay, thanks so much. Yes, customers who do not pay their bills will soon see late fees and disconnection notices. All of this comes after those penalties have been halted for nearly a year while the company revamps its system. But our Samantha Johnson today heard from some customers who say their bills still aren't adding up.
For more than 15 years, this yellow 800-square-foot home has also offered licensed childcare.
Run, run, run!
With dozens of little feet in the backyard.
And it's kind of like, surprise!
But owner Kelly Dawn Jones isn't talking about child's play.
It's not something for me that I can toy around with.
She's talking about this month's $862 bill from AES Indiana.
And the math is kind of not mathing.
She says she's willing to pay it if it's the right bill.
It's extremely difficult to get a hold of someone to actually say, hey, I need help.
And Jones isn't the only one with questions. Last year, we introduced you to Sue Hildebrandt, who received an incorrect bill of more than $10,000, and Robert Dunn in May, who was charged an extra $221 on one of his bills. A spokesperson now tells us AES Indiana's customer systems have resumed normal business operations, and that's why the penalties will come back in November.
That's fantastic for you.
But with a nearly $900 charge and the threat of late fees looming,
I don't know.
Jones says she needs help right away.
Well, we'll get back to you. No, don't get back to me because I have to stress out.
AES says all customers are eligible for extended payment options from 3 months to 12 months.
People want their electricity. I don't know anyone that doesn't want their electricity on, and I don't really know too many people that are not trying to figure out how to pay that bill.
In Indianapolis, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
So if you're behind on your payment, there is a direct number that you can call for help. We've got that posted right now on WTHR.com. Tonight, families of some of the most vulnerable Hoosiers are reacting to accusations in a newly unsealed federal whistleblower case. This lawsuit claims that insurance company and medical providers improperly billed the state for patient care and then walked away with millions of dollars, money that was supposed to have helped Medicaid patients across our state. Emily Longnecker spent today digging through those accusations.
According to the lawsuit, the alleged fraud sometimes involved duplicate claims, some of them made months and years after a patient had died. Money, the lawsuit says, was part of the reason the Family and Social Services Administration projected a $1 billion shortfall last year.
You know, if these allegations are true, we just find this to be really disturbing. Our families have kind of been made to feel that we've, that we're the problem.
Jennifer DeWitt is one of hundreds of parents who rallied at the State House last year, protesting changes in how the state would reimburse them to care for their medically complex kids, like DeWitt's son, Jackson. FSSA said the changes were necessary to address the Medicaid budget deficit.
Yeah, I do feel like we're kind of made out to be the scapegoats.
One of the whistleblowers says a contractor hired by the state to look for fraud told state Medicaid officials about the alleged overpayments back in 2017. He claims those same officials then cut back on their efforts to recover money that may have been overpaid. He says that's all because Medicaid officials were influenced by political pressure and lobbying from the insurance and hospital lobbies.
We are parents that are trying to keep our kids alive. We don't have the ability to send a lot of expensive lobbyists to the State House to plead our case.
13 News reached out to FSSA about the lawsuit and didn't hear back. We also reached out to several other organizations named in the suit. Most said in essence they would not comment right now on ongoing litigation. Ascension Health also added that it, quote, is committed to vigorously defending the organization and our associates against the untrue allegations in the complaint. The two whistleblowers, both high-ranking former state officials, filed the suit in 2021, but it was just recently unsealed. For parents like Jennifer DeWitt, the lawsuit is proof of one thing. She says there needs to be more oversight of the Family and Social Services Administration and its programs.
Indiana just needs to do more, quite frankly.
And we reached out to the governor's office for comment, but we didn't get a response. We did get a response from the whistleblower's attorney via email, and he told me the goal of this suit is to recover this much needed money for Medicaid and to hold the health insurers and the hospitals accountable for this alleged fraud.
All right, Emily Longnecker with that update. Thanks so much.
We are hearing from the father of a student accused of assaulting a teacher. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dustin Grovin for Anne Marie Tiernan.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. The teacher says he was knocked unconscious during the attack in a classroom at George Washington High School. Our Rich Nye shares what the teacher and the student's dad had to tell him about the teen's violent past.
Derry Dickman says he is a licensed special education teacher at Washington High School. On September 10th, he was covering the class of another teacher during his prep period, not a special needs class. Dickman says he was going through a slide presentation about school events when a student 3 rows back got up and attacked him.
The teacher says the student, unprovoked, hit him in the face 3 times, knocking him unconscious briefly. When he came to, the teacher said he was on the ground being kicked by the student.
The student is 19-year-old Aziz Mahamadou. Dickman says while he was being kicked, Mahamadou said, "You don't think I speak English." Dickman ordered Mahamadou out of the classroom and he was arrested by school police. Dickman suffered a concussion, broken rib, and knot on the back of his head. Mahamadou is charged with battery resulting in moderate bodily injury. Jail records show this is the 4th time Mahamadou has been arrested for battery this year. His father told me that his son has mental health issues and has been diagnosed with kakatonia, a disorder that disrupts a person's awareness of the world around them. The father says his son attacked him in March, punching him in the face. He has tried to get him admitted to a facility.
I don't know what else I need to do. I need help for him to get the treatment. I believe if he gets treatment, he will be better. And all this stuff will never gonna happen if they listen to me.
IPS says Mahamadou is no longer a student at Washington High School. The district released a statement that includes, "The safety of our students and staff is always our top priority at IPS." In Indianapolis, Rich Knight, 13 News.
Well, tonight, federal prosecutors are taking a closer look at domestic violence cases. Alleged abusers could now face federal charges. Federal agents have a plan to work closely with local police to address domestic violence threats.
Karen Campbell explains what their plan is and how advocates feel about the feds stepping in to help.
Domestic violence impacts countless individuals, families, and communities. It can also be deadly.
A persistent percentage of the gun violence we're seeing is gun violence in the home.
U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, Zachary Myers, along with other federal agencies, are working on a plan. Indianapolis was among nearly 80 communities across the U.S. designated by the Justice Department to focus on federal efforts to reduce intimate partner gun violence. That means working with the ATF. Agents who help seize guns will also help locate domestic violence abusers who have previous gun charges.
It's illegal for them to have them, and because these offenders are particularly dangerous when they're armed.
Director of Indy Champions, Daniette Smith, knows this story all too well.
We're getting those referrals from our law enforcement. We're getting those referrals from the hospitals when individual victims have already been shot, and they're trying to figure out what is next after getting out of the hospitals.
For years, she has focused her work on intervention and prevention. Smith says a federal charge for domestic violence abusers could be a game changer.
But once those federal charges are picked up, it's a whole different ball game, which ultimately benefits the survivor of domestic violence in our community.
If you are convicted in federal court of, a gun offense, the circumstances of the violence in the home still come before the court for the court to consider in choosing what an appropriate sentence is.
A sentence that can perhaps help victims of domestic violence.
Ultimately, be a voice for someone, whether it's your neighbor, your coworker, or even a family member, or yourself. Be a voice.
And know that you are not alone. Karen Campbell, 13 News.
And if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there is help available. Call the Domestic Violence Hotline. The number's right there at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-332-7385. We'll post that number and other numbers and links on where to find help on our website at WTHR.com. Just click on this story.
Scammers are hiding behind real businesses, trying to steal your information or money. A local business owner told us she fielded calls about a job, but she never posted online. Our Allison Gormley tonight tells us what's the deal.
That's right. Job scams are happening more often. They're getting more believable, and victims are reporting big losses. Here's what to look for next time you're out there job hunting.
Mosswall, here's a good example of what we might build.
A plant specialist. That's the job Stephanie Carlson wanted to fill.
We got probably 100 different applicants of really a lot of talented people.
After finding the right person, Carlson closed her post on ZipRecruiter. Weeks later, calls began rolling in about a data entry job.
I was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have office data entry. We are plant care specialists.
So she tried to open her ZipRecruiter account. Locked out.
They got into the account, changed my email so that they would get the responses.
The person used Carlson's name, a lookalike email address, and her logo to offer a generous $35 an hour.
This is the employment offer letter that I got.
Sarah thought it sounded like a great opportunity.
Google searched it, looked up Nature's Fire, saw the person's name was Stephanie that owned it.
So she handed over all of her personal information, including her social security number.
I guess I should have called them and said, hey, are you guys really hiring?
Confirming a job posting independently is a must, according to Santiago Torres Arias.
You would think twice before you hand out your credit card information. Now, I want people to think about their personal information in the same way.
Torres Arias said a lot of times scammers are gathering data to sell it.
Think of this as the cybercriminal equivalent of somebody who breaks into a car by smashing the window, grabbing whatever, and running away.
Just last year, the Federal Trade Commission said job scams cost people $286 million. That's more than double what it was 2 years before that. Carlson said it took days to regain her access to her account, leaving the door temporarily open for people to hand over personal information.
ZipRecruiter is a huge company. I think there really needs to be a better, more efficient way to protect the people that use these platforms.
So people looking for a paycheck don't turn into a target. ZipRecruiter did not respond to our request for comment, but the takeaways: watch for unrealistic wages and confirm jobs independently.
And one of the best ways, just call the company directly, right?
Exactly. Just like you would get a message from your bank and you would call the bank number separately, you're going to want to do the same thing. Look up that phone number independently and give them a call to make sure that job is real.
Good advice. Allison Gormley with What's the Deal?
This weekend, you've got a chance to tour multi-million-dollar homes as part of this year's Homearama.
Even if you're not in the market for a new home, this is a great chance to get some inspiration for your next project around the house. Gina Galeros has your first look at what you'll find in Zionsville this year.
This year is unique in that the home sites are large. 2 acres roughly on these home sites. Very aquatic / equestrian living with the 35-acre lake over here.
Step inside 5 homes at the promontory of Zionsville.
Bring the outdoors in, so we have a lot of windows and a lot of skylights, and we have big open spaces, 2 outdoor living spaces, and make it kind of an entertainment zone, but a comfortable zone.
A different builder is behind each home. Matt Huffman with the Old Town Design Group says it's always a labor of love.
We do spend a lot of hours and a lot of days going over plans, redoing plans, until we really have kind of the perfect blend of something new, but also something comfortable. It's fun to watch people walk through the front door and just see, kind of just stand there and go, oh.
Hankey Development did an amazing job with the development. And the whole mindset around Homearama is just to provide consumers an idea of what's the latest trends, what's coming out, technology, designs, but also textures, feels, tiles.
The builder and designer are on site to answer your questions and highlight local vendors.
They're the unsung heroes, you know, of all these builds.
These homes range from $3.9 million to just over $6 million. Most visitors aren't looking to spend this much, but it's a great place to get ideas.
And so there's specific things that you can do in these houses that you could do in your own home.
Or if you're not even looking for a home, it's a great date night. It really is fun. We've got food and drink vendors are out here, and you can really enjoy great weather and walk around.
So come on out to the promontory of Zionsville.
Because I think all the builders really brought their A game.
And prepare to be wowed. In Zionsville, Gina Galeros, 13 News.
Some beautiful homes. Homearama runs for the next 2 weekends. It is open noon to 8:30 in the evening.
Keep in mind, these are not small homes. It takes a couple hours to tour all of them, so make sure you arrive by 6 p.m.
And you also have to buy your tickets in advance. We actually put a link to purchase them with this story on WTHR.com.
And you're right, Felicia. It's not just checking out these really cool houses and the floor plans, but you get really good decorating ideas.
Yes, 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 yes.
A new pro football team is coming here to Central Indiana, but this is going to look a lot different than the Colts. Dave Calabro takes us to Hamilton County tonight to show us the Fisher's Freight.
Hi everybody, football season's in full swing. We've got high school going, college going, of course the NFL and the Colts right now. We have more football coming to March. This is Dixie Wooten. He's the new coach of the Fisher's Freight. Indoor football is coming to Fishers. How excited are you?
I'm excited, man. You know, just bringing a new thing to Fishers, you know, for the community, for the fan base. You know, we want to come out here and, you know, get a great start. So I'm super excited.
It's indoor football being played in Fishers, a new arena going in.
Yes.
How many fans?
6,800.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
That's going to be fun. What should fans expect from indoor football? I've seen arena football before, but this is different.
It's exciting. You know, it's an indoors, it's fast, it's physical. You know, you got 8-on-8. You know, in this league, you can play defense, you can run the football. So, you know, a fan that loves the outdoor game can come in and get the fast pace, but get a feeling of the outdoor game. So it's going to be fun.
I love that. We're at Hamilton Southeastern. Why are we here? You got a tryout, I hear?
Yes, November 2nd. We'll have a tryout for everybody across the country, but we want to reach out to a lot of local people, man. Some of these guys that have a chance to play in the big league that didn't get the opportunity, now you have it in Fishers.
What about guys like me that got cut in junior high? You got room for me?
Come on out. we can work you out. Come on out.
I love it. The Fishers Freight. If people want to get more information, there's a website?
Yes, you go to FishersFreightFootball.com, or you can go to GoIFL.com to just get a big, just look at our lead and things like that. So, you know, go to the website, you know, check us out and just, you know, understand what we're about and be around us and have fun with us.
That's so cool. The Fishers Freight. Good luck. Thanks,
Thank you.
Coach
Appreciate
Dixie.
it.
Good to
Thank
see you,
you,
buddy.
Appreciate it, Dave.
Check out the Fishers Freight.